Beloved heart, I invite you to sign up to my mailing list, and as a result of signing up, you will get a free gift. It's a 5D rebalance tune up of all these chakras, and chakras are my specialty. So I would love to gift you with this transmission that is filled with light language and codes to help you stay balanced and tuned up during these increased frequencies of energy of this ascension, this new earth frequency. So check out the links in the notes of this show. And I look forward to connecting with you. I am sending you love. This is the transfiguration of the new you. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Monica Bermudez. I'm your host, and we have a very special guest here with us. Her name is MarBeth Dunn. I say your name correct, right?
You did. Yes, you
Okay, awesome. Um, MarBeth is a leading expert in somatic healing and intuitive energy mastery. For over 35 years, she has helped empaths, sensitives, and high achieving women release stress, anxiety, and trauma by reconnecting with their bodies and regulating their nervous systems. She is the author of Awaken the Healer Within, Overcome Stress, Anxiety, and Illness. And that's the image that you have right there, right behind you.
Yes.
Very nice. So Marbeth, I want to welcome you to my podcast and our audience. So thank you for being here with us right now and sharing your magic.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I just really appreciate being here with you, Monica.
Yes, so appreciative. If you could just, elaborate a little more, because I know I just read some of your work, but I see you have an extensive amount of experience. I mean, 35 years, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, it happens as we get older.
Well, that to me is like wisdom more than anything. Um,
So basically, I'm an empath and an intuitive, and I downloaded a system of healing that's the intuitive energy mastery because I'm an empath and I can feel where people are holding issues in their bodies.
mhm,
And I've been a spiritual teacher for almost 40 years as well. So I can help people, even though I only work remotely, I don't work in person.
mhm,
I don't need to. I
mhm.
can feel what's going on in people's bodies and I can help them release whatever the issues are. And which brings up something I believe we're going to be talking about today about embodiment. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Embodied manifestation. I'm excited. I mean, we can never get enough of this topic, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's such an important topic that so many people are talking about, like manifesting and shifting the reality. And we're going to dig into a lot of that here, coming from your perspective, because audience would really love to hear your style of doing it, because all of us do have our own style of doing stuff, right? So whatever works for people, like in their own way of manifesting, is having like all the tools available to us. And that is, what we want to share here.
of course, of course. And I love, as we were saying earlier before we started the recording, that it's really so important to hear
Hmm.
all about manifestation, all of the different ways, and even the same information because we don't necessarily grasp it at once.
Exactly. Exactly.
We
Yes.
need to hear things sometimes over and over again until it clicks and it's oh.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I found that sometimes when I hear it from different angles or different perspectives, that also helps to click. Repetition is one way, and looking at it from a different angle also is another way of like really bringing in some of that click to happen.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's also really important to clear out the blocks that we have that we're holding energetically in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have blocks in our energy system they're basically keeping us from
Mm-hmm.
accessing that inner love essence of who we are.
Right.
That and so when we can use releases like the somatic healing and intuitive energy mastery, we release the stress, we release the anxiety and emotional trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have that clear channel to be able to really feel, to know that we deserve it, to know that
Mm-hmm.
that we can. It all has to do a lot with our belief system as well. Like Henry Ford said, if we believe we can, we can. And if we believe we can't, we can't.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the statement of seeing, right? We have an old saying, and I did say it in the last episode, and that is, I'll believe it when I see it, but really it's about believing first and then seeing it,
Yeah.
and I
And
think,
just that knowing inside. But if you're driving with one foot on the brake by having,
hmm,
some beliefs like I don't deserve that, I'm not good enough for that, at the same time you're trying to manifest it, it ain't going to happen.
yeah, I mean, definitely. So what are, some other examples of blocks that you've encountered with others, with your clients?
Well, I think if people are holding on to um, grief, anxiety, stress, anger, just limiting beliefs, just we're just such complex beings. I see us as
Mhm.
patterns of light and information,
Yeah.
not these solid bodies. So if we recognize that we're holding on to these other patterns that aren't serving us, that are actually preventing us
Hmm.
from stepping into our limitlessness and our ability to manifest what it is that we want and deserve, and it's for our best interest.
Yes, very much. Um, well, actually, let me start with this question though. Was there a defining moment in your life that awakened your path into somatic healing and intuitive energy mastery?
Yes, I can think of a few. The first thing that woke me up spiritually, well, I had severe asthma and I had panic attacks and I had stress and anxiety. I was living on a mountaintop in Haiti, in the island
Wow.
in Haiti. Yeah, I'd lived there for 17 years. I was a painter
Oh,
and I basically supported my family with my art.
okay.
And I went through, it was back in the 80s, we went through like seven coups d'etats, which were kind of upheavals of government, changing of, who was running the country. And it was very tumultuous. And I had a painting business and I had this severe asthma and I was in a difficult relationship with the husband. That's the former, the husband. And
Husband, I like that. It's the first I've heard that.
and yeah, it was a really, I was going through some rough stuff. And I always knew deep in my heart, I knew that there was a way to heal.
Mhm.
I knew that I was going to be free. But I
Mhm.
and I and I pushed. Now I'm going to probably jump ahead and then go back. When you push, when you want something so badly that you're pushing your way through, you're totally
Yeah.
blocking it. And so for me, it would create like greater asthma symptoms and it would knock me back for days. So I was trying really hard. I tried all different kinds of things that I ran into, like Buddhist chanting, the I Ching. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Mm-mm.
But I tried, anything, self-hypnosis. I tried Dianetics. Um, and, nothing, I mean, things would help a little bit, but then they really didn't quite get there. And then I found A Course in Miracles, and that really has been my base. I woke up one morning after just reading it, because you don't have to believe it. You just read it and see if it works for you. And I
Right.
suddenly realized for the very first time in my life that my thoughts had power, that I could change my thoughts and
Mm-hmm.
my life would change.
Awesome.
Now that was so powerful. It totally transformed my life,
Mm-hmm.
and miracles were flowing all over the place. And I just elevated to such a beautiful place that I just felt like I was riding spirit's coattails, and just in this beautiful place of manifestation. And I wasn't even trying. Everything just appeared, absolutely magically.
Magic, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, wow, I'm just totally in the miracle zone.
Mm-hmm.
And the somatic healing came because I am an empath and I didn't know that I was an empath. Now, we're not born with a guidebook that tells us, okay, empath, this is what you can do to protect yourself from other people's energies. No, a
Yeah.
lot of times we become empaths because, well, I believe I kind of have it in my family. My nana, my
Mm-hmm.
grandma, was definitely, she kept saying, "You're like me," and I understand now what she meant.
Yeah.
We didn't have a word for that. We didn't know, like you could get bombarded with other people's energy and living, in Haiti where people used voodoo and
Oh my. Yeah.
dark energy.
I don't even want to
It
imagine.
was not good for me.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to protect myself. I didn't know what was going on. And but I learned, and it basically, when I became a Reiki master back in 2004, it changed my life, and I realized that I could take on other people's energy, and it really affected me. And I remember the very first time it happened. I had a friend who she did Reiki at a massage studio, and she couldn't make it one day. She asked me to cover for her. So I went there and I hugged different people there. And the next day, I woke up and I had a massive headache. I don't get headaches, and it didn't feel like me. So
Yeah.
I went back over my day, and when I got to where I hugged the massage therapist, it just clicked into place, and I knew, oh, this is hers. It's not mine. So sent love and peace to her. And I basically pushed it out of my body. And that was the beginning of recognizing, okay, my body's involved here. So I would say that would be the beginning of somatic healing. I didn't even know that I was a somatic healer.
Uh-huh.
I've been using somatic healing techniques for about 20 years, but I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that there was somatic healing until I was writing this book. And I was looking at topics that might be interesting, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I realized, oh, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Awesome. Yeah, it is funny. That is really fascinating. I mean, because empath is a superpower, to have to be an empath. It's almost like being a sponge of energies, but also being able to redirect. It's like a mastery of energy. I would say like manipulation of energy, but in a good way. Um,
It can be.
yeah, and so what would you tell somebody who's listening, right, and trying to understand like somatic, what does somatic mean to you? Like if you were to define it, to them.
Oh, of course. Well, soma, it refers to your body.
Mm-hmm.
And our bodies have an innate intelligence and wisdom. They guide us if we
Mm-hmm.
allow them to. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize, again, I was born with so much ignorance. I didn't know what I didn't know. But our bodies are incredibly wise and they're always communicating with us. So,
Yes.
for example, our emotions kind of live in our throats. If you feel like you're all choked up, see, English has a lot of language to refer to the body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all choked up, my stomach's in knots, I've got a heavy heart, my heart
Yeah.
broke, I'm, having heartbreak. I was stabbed in the back when I got betrayed. That's your body communicating what you're
Yeah.
feeling. So,
Right.
and a lot of times, oh, and I'm beside myself with worry because it's so uncomfortable to be in the body. I'm not even in the body. I'm out here.
Yeah. Oh, when you have people like out of body, like when they don't like they're feeling numb, I guess, too much
Yeah,
stress.
or trauma,
Mhm.
a lot of times people don't feel safe in their bodies.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's really important to feel, again, for we get it back to
Mhm.
manifestation, you need to
Mhm.
feel safe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So somatic is the body, is what it means. An
Yeah.
innate body. Um, so how does that, would you say it's the same as clairsentient or is
I
it?
am clairsentient.
Okay.
Clairsentient, I feel in advance in my body. My body warns me. And I first became aware of it. I was living in a condo. And when I would leave my condo and walk into the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
and I would be going someplace, very often I would feel this like constriction in my chest. It would be hard to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then after a while, I realized, oh, my body's warning me about where I'm going. And then at that point, I would use muscle testing to check in.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe where I'm going. And I would get a yes or a no. And then I would check in on the energy there. If there was somebody there I needed to be aware of, and I would protect myself. I remember one time I was going over to a friend's house and I knew her. She was safe. She's a Kundalini yoga instructor, as I
Mm-hmm.
am. And I knew that her house and I knew, was okay. And so I didn't check in before I left. And my body was giving me these very weird sensations before I left. It was warning me. So I went there and there was a new woman there and her husband had died fairly recently. And she was experiencing a lot of grief. And I had lost a sweetheart, I guess a year or two before that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were on the same frequency, you could say. And so she got into my field and I felt horrible. And, it's so much easier to protect yourself before that happens.
Mm-hmm.
To I have a couple of techniques, but I'll be happy to share with other
Okay.
empaths out there. One is I put myself inside a disco ball and it just reflects energy out, and I just allow in love and supportive energies.
I love that.
And another one that I do is I will put on, I become Iron Woman with the helmet, the gloves, the boots, the whole body armor. And again, I just allow in the love and beneficial energies. But it's a lot harder once they've gotten in. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to protect yourself in advance.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those techniques. I usually like to say the armor of God, is what I wear.
Yes.
Like it's made of light and a lot of crystalline and shielding. So yeah, it's very similar to that. So there's just so many ways that we can protect ourselves. So I love the
Yes. And
techniques
that
that you shared.
intention is so powerful.
Yes, very much. Every day I have to be on guard, especially these days, because right now it's like we're being bombarded by all sorts of like energies everywhere and information overload,
Hmm.
I would say.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you're especially sensitive, you walk into a room and
Mm-hmm.
you can totally get zapped. And it's not always easy to remember to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember it all the time.
Right. But now what I say is 24/7 protection. So if I forget to ask, just know that I'm always protected.
Oh, there you go.
You can record yourself, or program yourself that way as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, those are nice. So why do you think so I think, so many people try to heal right through the mindset alone, but why is the body the gateway to true transformation and manifestation?
Well, I believe that our bodies love us very much.
Mhm.
And I believe that a complete person is body, mind, and spirit. So they all need to be developed
Mhm.
and they all have great wisdom. So our bodies have amazing wisdom and they
Mhm.
guide us and they love us. And no, they let us know that we have issues in our tissues, the issues from the past.
Issues in the tissues. Yeah.
Yeah, the things that come
Nice.
up from the past.
Yeah.
Um, Recently, well, about a year, over a year, a little over a year ago, I was in
Mhm.
Las Vegas with my family, and we were there for about a week in an Airbnb. We just had a great time. They don't live near me, so I was just really, basking in their energy, and it was just delightful. And the night before we were leaving, they live in New Mexico, I live in Florida. The night before we were leaving, I woke up at 3 in the morning and I felt I was coming down with the flu.
Mm.
I was coughing, I was choking, I was snotty, the whole thing. And I thought, oh crap, just before I'm leaving, I'm going to be traveling and I'm getting sick. And then, I started to get up to make myself some hibiscus tea with some
Yeah.
elderberry and some zinc and, just vitamin C, the whole 9 yards. And then I stopped and I asked. I basically, tapped into my body and I said, this is physical. And I
Mhm.
gotta know. No, it wasn't physical. It
Oh,
was emotional. And so I sat there and I could feel that heaviness, the grief, because our
yeah.
chests embody the grief.
Yeah.
And I just went inward and I just surrounded the grief with love and I just sat there and allowed it to be.
Mm.
And I believe that our emotions need to be acknowledged.
They do.
And when they are, then they just dissipate like clouds. They just
Yeah.
dissipate and dissolve. And so I sat there for a little bit. Grief dissolved in my chest. I went back to sleep. I didn't get sick. There was nothing. It just
Mhm.
all disappeared. And the next morning, I shared it with my family, and everybody was feeling sad and a lot of grief about separating, and because we would love to live closer together,
Right.
but we
Well,
don't. So, but we were able
fascinating.
to express it
Yeah.
and go on our way. And it comes from a family that repressed emotion. I learned as a very young age to repress emotion. You just didn't go there.
Mm.
Wasn't something that we did, so it didn't feel comfortable at all. So it has a lot to do with relearning, you know
Yeah.
but our bodies definitely have so much to share with us, and of course our minds are connected with everyone else's. We are not these separate beings. We are, as I said, we're patterns of light and information. We merge, our energies merge with other people.
Right.
And yeah, and basically on that level, we are all one.
Yes, definitely. It's the
Yeah,
unity consciousness of things
yeah.
that are interconnected. It's also like I call it the quantum field.
Yes, of course.
And it's so good that you said that repressed emotions. I know there's so many out there who still like do that. And that's one of the first things, that I learned is to not ignore the emotion that is coming up, acknowledge that it's there is the first step. And, doing that practice that you did also helps in that healing. So yeah, I appreciate that saying that because that's an important aspect to understanding in the healing process, the transformation and manifestation, right?
Yes. And you notice that as the emotions, the emotions that need to be healed, as they're dissolved, it opens us up and
Yeah.
we expand, our awareness just expands and we elevate with
Mm-hmm.
that expansion. So at that higher elevation, higher frequency, that's where we manifest
Yes,
from that higher place. And that's when things come so much more quickly.
definitely. Yes. So, what are the first signs that someone's nervous system is dysregulated, even if they appear like high functioning?
Well, I think you would feel anxious
Mm,
and stressed. You might have, tightness in your shoulders. You might have, well, For example, when I was getting sick, it wasn't it was real, but it wasn't real. It was emotional. And how much of our physical symptoms that we're experiencing are caused by stress or caused by anxiety or caused by emotions that are not being expressed, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So if you're feeling dysregulated, maybe you can't sleep, maybe you're stressed,
Mhm.
you're feeling anxious, and there's some great ways to release that. And then also look at what might be going on here.
Yes, that's a good one. Uh,
So, one of the ways that I like to release stress before I go to sleep at night is to
mhm,
just bounce, just shake it off, as Taylor Swift says, shake it off. You
mhm,
just bounce up and down on your heels and shake your whole body. Just
mhm,
shake your head, your shoulders, your arms. Just bounce, bounce, bounce up and down, and just intentionally, just I'm shaking it off this any stress. I'm shaking off any negative energies. I'm just shaking it off. And you can do that for a minute or two or three or four. And
mhm.
then it just, you release it. And it's just a very wholesome, natural way to just feel a lot calmer. And you can even add, I do Qigong. And so there's a healing sound that you can say, the triple warmer, which is sound is he. So when you're bouncing up and down and you're saying he,
Mm.
it just adds to that release.
Oh.
Unlock your limitless potential with the monthly multiversal circle of creation. This sacred quantum manifestation ritual will awaken your inner power and connect you to the successful versions of yourself across the multiverse. Clear blocks, amplify your creative energy, and set powerful intentions for abundance, love, and possibilities. Activate your galactic aspects, recalibrate your nervous system, and manifest your dreams with cosmic clarity. Available in person and via Zoom. Join us for this transformative experience today.
Nice.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, definitely. Those are nice techniques to have at night before going to sleep to just
Mhm.
loosen up, pretty much.
Yes.
So, in your experience, what are the energetic frequencies most aligned with rapid manifestation, and what pulls people out of that frequency?
Well, the highest frequencies we know are love
Mm-hmm.
and appreciation, joy,
Mm-hmm.
grace. They're all up there at the very top and probably could say interchangeable. When we get upset, angry, fearful, we get knocked out.
Yes.
So those higher frequencies are where we are going to manifest most easily.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Joy is like definitely keeping your passion, right, and the things that you are dreaming about and desiring,
Mhm.
keeping in that wave of excitement.
And it's really nice when you first wake up in the morning and you're kind of in that dreamy state.
Yeah.
Think about, wouldn't it be nice if, and then move into something that you'd really like to
Mm-hmm.
happen. I remember doing that like many years ago, and we were flying somewhere, and I'd just gotten engaged. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't it be nice if we could go get knocked up to first class? But
Mm-hmm.
we didn't. When we got on the plane and we were joking around with the flight attendant and and somehow we told her that we had just gotten engaged and well, we were sitting on the very last seat in the plane. And do you know this woman brought us all day long for the trip? She brought us food, she brought us treats, and we got off the plane. She gave us a couple of bottles of wine, bottles, big bottles.
Wow.
And it was just
Well,
sweet. We were getting a first class treatment, even though we were on the very last seat on the plane. And I totally appreciated that.
wow, so that was better than first class.
Yeah, it was very sweet.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, you see, you never know like what you may get, like when you're in that higher state of frequency, I would say, like what's being manifested or making, its way over, it could be a lot better than what,
one expected, I would say, you know.
Yes. Yeah. So and I think that if you're in a neutral place about it, it's not something that you want so desperately.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows it to come in a lot easier. You don't have any resistance. For many, many years, I didn't have a great relationship with my mom, and I really wanted it. And I just one day I just said, "Oh, this is never going to happen. I think I'm just going to have a good relationship. I'll find a nice older woman that I can have like a motherly type of relationship with."
Mm.
And and at that point is when my mom came closer, and we did have a great relationship. It was
Oh,
when I let it go, I
yeah.
had my wanting it so much had pushed it away. But
Oh,
when I
okay.
let it go,
Mhm.
that's when it came.
Yeah, I love that you said that because letting go is a big part of it. Sometimes we get so attached to an outcome of what we expect or desire so much that we end up pushing it away instead.
Hmm.
Um, it's like a
Yeah,
lover, it's like a lover wanting someone, right? So badly that they end up pushing that person away. But that's really how it is. Almost
it
like
is how it is. And in fact, with my life partner Harrison, I had taken myself. I was training to be a Kundalini yoga instructor, and the training was very intense. And I'm an empath, and during our monthly trainings, I was processing everybody else's releases. It was not good. I figured out how to take care of that. But it was just, we had to get up in the middle of the night to do sadhanas, to go to the yoga studio and go through exercises and meditations. And it was just a lot. And I just said, I'm taking myself off any dating site. I'll get back on, and, when this is done in 9 months. And that's, of course, where he came in.
mm, wow, very nice. Yeah, see? But that's really how it works. You're
Yep.
not like always constantly saying it like every single day and every minute, 'cause then that just like it's funny how manifestation works that way. It just pushes it away.
Yeah. Are
Um,
we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No. And I didn't
exactly.
even think that I was doing that. But if you're holding on to it and you're in
Yeah,
your,
it's like when
yeah,
is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? Like, we keep saying
yeah,
that, then of course it's just not gonna happen.
that's right.
It's better to just let it go and just let it be, and let it do
Yes.
the thing because what's coming is gonna be 10 times better than what, people think it's gonna be. The how of things are gonna be manifested. So what's gonna come is gonna be so much better than
Yes.
the outcome that they had imprinted at first, as that desire.
Yes.
That's the way I see it. So what role do you say does the collective embodiment play in the evolution of humanity and the emergence of a new Earth?
Okay. Great question. Again, I believe our minds are joined, and I have a nonprofit, 10 million for world peace, where we meditate once a month for world peace, and we also have a healing circle.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole premise is that, and I did in 2018, I created the World Miracle Peace Experiment, where we met over Facebook, and I led a 7-minute meditation where we've our minds all united, in the unified field. And we focused at that point. I had independent statistics from the company, an organization, a nonprofit called the ACLED, and they measured violence all over the world. We focused on the Middle East because I knew that we would be able to get statistics, to
Yeah.
see what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so we focused on the Middle East with this unified field. And the level of violence over 6 months, independent statistics showed that it dropped over 20%, well over 25%. It
Wow.
was pretty dramatic,
Mm-hmm.
and which is pretty amazing. And so when we focus in this unified field, when we're all together, miracles can happen. And uh, Nostradamus came through Dolores, what's
Dolores
her
Cannon.
Cannon. Yeah. Are you aware of this? That he came through one of the patients that she
Hypnosis.
was working with and who happened to have been his assistant in a past life.
Yeah.
And she he wanted to correct all of his predictions and bring them up to the present. And so she wrote 3 volumes of his predictions. And basically what he said is if we made it past 2000, then we had a chance, and we could learn that minds could unite, and we could usher in an age of peace that would last for 1,000 years.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like we definitely need more of that now.
Yes,
Especially with everything going around the world. We can change it all. We can change the timelines. We can forget about what people are predicting, Because
yes,
I'm tired of like predictions that are apocalyptic, and destructive and all this other stuff.
sure.
But everybody, we can shift that. We can shift that timeline to be something of ease and grace,
Yes.
doesn't have to be so violent, doesn't have to be so abrupt, on things like to we can just collapse the timeline, is what I'm saying, and really jump into the quantum leap into like miracles, into other areas that we want to achieve for this new earth. And I firmly do believe that. So I appreciate that you're doing that. Definitely encourage the listeners to go to your your group, your because you're doing the nonprofit, right? To join up for like
Yes,
meditations
it's
as a
it's
group.
10 million for world peace, all spelled out in words.
Okay.
TN million for
Okay. Yeah.
worldpeace.org.
We definitely need more of that around the world. And so thank you for having that, as one place for that.
It's important.
It's so important, so emphasized. So, what is like one simple somatic or energetic practice people can begin today to release stored anxiety or emotional tension or trauma?
I would suggest grounding. Just imagine that there is a cord running from the soles of your feet
Mm-hmm.
all the way down into the center of our Mother Earth, our beautiful Mother Earth. And as the cord's running down, all of our stress, anxiety, anything that's keeping us from being centered and loving is going down. And it's basically being transmuted in the center of Mother Earth and
Yeah.
coming up into the soles of our feet as pure love. And you can picture it in a particular color, whatever color works for you. It could be pink or green or gold or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
see it coming up through your feet and filling up your legs and up into your torso and just all swirling around, filling up every soul of your being, all the way up to your head, and just feel that beautiful, calm, loving energy.
Mm,
Very simple. You can do it anywhere.
I love that. I hope the listeners were trying it too. But definitely, come back and listen to that again. It's a very important technique. Thank you for sharing that.
My
Uh,
pleasure.
Yeah, so like scientific studies actually have shown that grounding does produce like healing, and it does minimize stress. So that's what scientists are finding right now. There's just so many studies on grounding.
Hmm.
Um, they're saying like that's part of why, we feel kind of disconnected, I would say, because we spend most of our time in office um, computers and
Bones.
not enough time outside doing connection with earth and grounding, as much as, we're really supposed to be more grounded with earth. That is part of our balanced healing, I would
Yes.
say. And that's what scientists are finding too. So what's been known as like ancient wisdom, science is catching up on, I would say.
Yes, it's taken them a while.
Just a little bit, yeah. Yeah, so let me see.
So, what would you say to somebody who's struggling, right, to quiet their mind when they're trying to meditate? What's a gentler or like a somatic based approach that you would suggest to someone?
I would say don't force it, don't try.
Hmm.
Don't try. And you can focus on your breath. You can very simple inhale for a count of 4, hold it for 4, exhale for a count of 4, and leave it out for a count of 4. So you do like this round 4, 4, 4, 4 breath, and just focus on the breath. And also, you don't need to meditate sitting down. You
Hmm.
can get up and walk outside and enjoy Mother Nature, go hug a tree, and
Yeah.
you'll get that grounding effect.
Yeah, it's like meditation and movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've noticed that somatic does do a lot of breath work.
Hmm.
Do they do like they hold it in for like 4 or and then
Oh,
release?
there's so many, I've learned so much about breath work from Kundalini yoga training.
Okay.
And then there's also something that's called the nasal vagal method, where you would inhale for 4, hold it for 2, and exhale for 10. And that
Mm.
really takes you down. Because you have to work up for that sometimes. When I've taken people through it, they're like, I don't have that much breath to exhale for 10, but it's good to train yourself with that.
Yeah.
So you would inhale for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 10. And that basically stimulates the vagal nerve, which gets our parasympathetic nervous system.
The vagal nerve is where like in our
Yeah, it goes from your head all the way down.
the spinal is part of the spine, like in the back, right? This part of the spinal
It,
cord.
it kind of like wanders, through your
Mhm.
body. But
Okay.
it's basically really powerful at just stimulating relaxation.
Okay. Nice. I love that. Um, so how can listeners know they are shifting from survival mode into creation consciousness?
Oh, I think you'll know it.
Yeah.
You'll know it because you're feeling differently. There's a big shift. I mean, I have been at the lowest of the low, having like
Mhm.
major panic attacks where I thought I was going to die because I had, pain in my chest and tingles and pain up and down my left arm. I actually called a doctor, and it was very scary, but it was panic. It was anxiety.
Mhm.
So we know when we're feeling better, and we also feel more expansive
Yeah, it's
and
true.
relaxed and expansive, calm, peaceful. And
Mhm.
it's actually when we are feeling peaceful that we are more connected with spirit.
Yes, definitely feel lighter, not heavy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so we're gonna be like wrapping it up, but let me ask you, was there anything else you wanted to share with the audience or any final thoughts?
Oh, I'm just so glad to share this with you today, Monica. And I know that the right people are going to be listening today. And I hope you reach out to me. I have a free report, which is 5 somatic secrets to overcome stress, anxiety, and illness naturally, and also a meditation, an easy mindfulness made easy. And that's
Hmm.
on my website, marbethdunn.com. It's all free.
Okay. Yeah, and all your contact information for the listeners is going to be in the episode notes. So do reach out to Marbeth about, some of these techniques and meditations and everything that she's sharing. It's so important for us to have all the tools we can right now to help us, get more into our true essence, which is our creativity. We're meant to be in our own sovereignty in that way. So, was there anything else?
No, just extending so much love and blessings to everyone.
All
And
right.
thank you so much, Monica, for
I
having me.
appreciate you so much, and I appreciate all the listeners listening to this. So, thank you for being here now with us as a guest.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click like, save and share with others so they can also experience what you just experienced. And stay tuned for some more high vibe episodes. And I'll be connecting with you in the next quantum field. Sending you so much love.